Do you think the people here are ahead or behind the curve, Martin, relative to the world's values?
I'd say not that far different. There's more of a Christian residue here. But the same battles take place, especially when you get on the university campuses, which are strongholds of liberalism. That's the same conflict that takes place in any university, and this is very much a university community. So that tends to pull the community leftward.
How far out into North Dakota have you ventured, Martin, since you landed, so to speak, in the Fargo area?
I've been to Minot. I haven't been west of Bismarck. I've been south and then north up, north of Grand Forks.
And your activism, what would you help me? What would be the most memorable moment you've had? One of them here.
Well, I suppose when we won a 6-year lawsuit to defend a Christian ministry, that was quite a conclusion of a very, very long struggle with the North Dakota Attorney General.
Remind me of this circumstance, Martin, and our listeners.
Well, Heidi Heitkamp, if you remember, was Attorney General of North Dakota in the 1990s. And she brought a lawsuit against a pro-life Christian ministry in which she attempted to change the leadership of the ministry. She wanted the court to appoint different Christians to run the ministry, Christians that she approved of as opposed to the ones that founded it. Created a tremendous religious freedom and establishment of religion issue, which ultimately the North Dakota Supreme Court resolved in our favor.
What years did this take place, Martin?
Started in 1996 and concluded in 2001.
That explains it. Yeah. So your role in that was what?
I was a legal assistant, but I did a lot of the research.
You probably provided the backbone of the briefs and the information, and that's just a yeoman's task, isn't it?
It was.
It would be. So that was a high point. What would you say a low point would be?
Well, one was when the community voted to allow stripping bars to continue in the city. If you remember I think this was around 98, the city commission courageously passed a law that said you could not have drinking and stripping taking place at the same place, which pretty much would put them out of business. And the bar owners went up in arms and got enough signatures by passing around clipboards at bars to put it on the ballot. And they heavily promoted it as a First Amendment issue. They should be able to do what they want in their bars. And the voters rejected the ordinance. And so the Northern continues on doing what it did before. That was a big disappointment.
And that was about 1998.
I'm just
something.
guessing.
I think you're right about that, Martin. On another front, I don't know if you're directly involved with it, Martin, or not. But I've seen emails and references to a website here where you have video cameras in front of what you call the abortion mill. Help me understand that. Is there a website still that people that's running the photos or pictures of people coming and going, or is that what's the status of, and what's it called again? What was it?
It was called Ground Zero Fargo.
Ground Zero, yes. Ground Zero what?
Fargo.
GroundZeroFargo.com.
Yeah, .org.
.org, okay.
Right. Ground Zero is where innocent people are killed en masse, and that's what an abortion mill is. So that's where I got the name from. The idea was here, people are, when they go into an abortion mill, are exercising their constitutional right. Constitutional right to kill their child. And what higher values do we have in American culture than our precious constitutional rights? And how better can we celebrate those rights than to actually put up on the internet pictures of people exercising their constitutional rights? And that's what I was doing.
And do people, nobody's questioned that, have they? Or you really haven't had anybody try affect it or pull it off the air or internet or anything?
Oh, there was a tremendous opposition that came up. Yeah, they went to the web hoster and said, take this person off the web. You know, and the web poster said, when you provide us with a court order, we'll do it.
And you were just chuckling knowing that, Martin, you're going to be gone. You're going to be off in law school. What's your forecast for what kind of issues are going to be continuing or new issues surfacing in our community here?
Well, I think the human life struggle will continue. It cannot ever be resolved as long as people have a conscience. And I hope that, my real hope is that women that have had abortions would come out of the closet and begin to talk about their actual experiences instead of it being their secret shame. And I think if that pain and anguish and is expressed, it would be like the effect that Uncle Tom's Cabin had on the sentiment leading up to the Civil War.
Remind me, Martin, the number of abortions. If I recall, it had quite a spike. And I think I have a number in my mind, but remind us the number of abortions performed in our community in the last year, roughly.
1,200.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was 13 or so hundred. What was the reason for the increase? Do they know?
It's pretty steady. It's about 100 a month, 25 a week that get killed. I've stood out there and I see it's young fellows with their girlfriends. That's what it is.
That's
by and large.
Are they the same people you think over and over, or is it each one new once generally? How would you guesstimate that?
I think about 30-40% of women are repeat abortions.
So almost a third, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say, Martin, the age might be generally?
Probably about 20 years old.
What do you think is going through their minds when they're walking in?
Well, when they may think this is what they're supposed to do with it, this is how that lifestyle works. If you get pregnant, then you got to pay the price and go in and get cleaned out.
What's the energy they give you and folks like you when they're walking past activists on the way in?
Indifference, hostility. They're told by the people in the abortion law who signed them up, don't talk to the people on the sidewalk.
Have you seen anybody saved and turn around,
oh, yes.
go back?
Some people are very gifted in talking to people on an impromptu basis. And I've seen people walk out of there and turn away, absolutely. And the effect of having people out there also has a spiritual effect. It breaks up the death monopoly a little bit and lets some of the Spirit of Christ through, and people can be affected by that.
So, Martin, are you going to continue your activism while you're in school, do you suspect, or will you be pretty much full-time as a law student?
I think I'll be concentrating on the legal studies. There's no abortion in Lynchburg, Virginia. Thank God. And it's a pretty rigorous program. So, God willing, it will equip me to be more effective.
Martin Wishnatsky, it's just a real pleasure having you on the radio.
Thank you, John.
Will you give? Let's try keep in touch, and sometime every once in a while, let's just connect with folks back at home. We'll make some radio time if you're up for that.
I'd very much like to do that.
Again, this is John Strand.